#1 source for after-show entertainment. You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of New Jersey After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Real Housewives of New Jersey After Show.
Woo! Grab your helmets, kids! Grab your helmets. This was a kick-ass episode, y'all.
Never throw the first punch.
We can't wait to break it down.
When times get tough,
Times
you
are
learn
tough.
who your real friends are.
Yep.
I am a Vegas girl. I will
Grab your helmets,
Old
kids.
school.
Grab your helmets. This
We
was
believe
a
in
kick-ass
respect.
Was that you?
episode. No, he was recording us.
Oh,
and it's
can't
looped.
wait
To break it down. Hello! All right, all you AfterBuzz fans, if you are tuning in right now, this is the after show for the Real Housewives of New Jersey, and this was a juicy ass episode.
Juicy.
So we just got to dig in. I'm going to go around the room really quickly, and then we're going to get started. I am Diona Vaughan across the table.
I'm Susan Hahn.
I'm Giselle Ugarte, live tweeting at Giselle Ugarte.
Tweet away. Okay, you guys, this is episode 17, our favorite housewives from the Garden State, hot tub of sour grapes. Where do I even begin?
Let's
start.
just
dig right in.
Yeah.
First of all, Kathy.
Where do we begin with her?
Woo!
What the hell was that about?
Where did it come from?
First of all,
First of all, don't say where did it come from. Didn't I tell you this bitch is shady all along?
Woo!
Didn't I say
You did.
that? I said that, watch. She has
You
something up her
did.
sleeve. This girl is shady.
So this is my first question for you guys, because I like to throw questions out to you. So do we think that Kathy was purposefully setting Teresa up with this whole conversation? Because first of all, she initiated the conversation about Caroline and kind of sticking her nose into things. Second of all, she had this conversation when they were in earshot of Caroline, of Jacqueline, and Melissa. Was this on purpose? Or was this a mistake?
And 190%, it was on purpose.
Yeah.
She started her conversation as, oh, well, you didn't put me in your speech. And then quickly she goes,
back to the speech.
Caroline, and she just brought up Caroline. She just dumped it on her, and Teresa was like, whoa. And then, Teresa even made a comment. I know Caroline is earshot away, but you know what? I have nothing to hide, so let's go.
Right.
You want to go? Let's go. Let's have this conversation. But Kathy played it so dirty, and I can't even believe that when they were packing, she came into the room and was like, I didn't mean to. That's exactly
You're
what
stirring the
meant.
pot even more.
Yeah.
She was being beyond ridiculous. And at first I thought she hopped into the hot tub and she mentioned how she wasn't mentioned during the toast and that little
Back
jab.
to that damn
So
toast.
I thought that, that was going to be the end of that. And by the way, I thought that was completely ridiculous. She didn't call out every single person in her toast.
Exactly.
What was the point? Yeah, you're sitting right next to her. If she wanted to mention you, you're not that hard to forget.
Right.
I don't think that was big of a deal. But then rather than saying, that kind of hurt my feelings or figuring out her own issues or how they could move on and maybe spend the last day together bonding cousin and cousin, since clearly Kathy feels so left out.
Right.
She stirs the pot. And I don't know if this is Caroline's influence. I don't know if this was her mission all along, but this is not the Kathy that I know and love.
Well, I got two things for you. First thing is this whole toast thing. And I really liked what Teresa had to say. She said, you know what? She said, Chris and Jacqueline invited us on this trip. I had to recognize that. Then she said, it was Caroline's 50th birthday. Had to recognize that.
And that was an afterthought.
Enough said.
Right, that was an afterthought.
I'm on Teresa's side when it comes to this leaving Kathy out of the toast. What was the reason for her to bring up Kathy and Richie in the toast?
Well,
she had two valid reasons.
Well, I think that it's legit, legitimately, yes. Maybe Kathy might have felt left out at first. And then she goes and vents to the wrong person, which is Caroline, who just throws fuel on the fire.
Right.
So now they're both at dinner waiting to pounce on her. They're just waiting to pounce on her. It's like, it was out of control. It was just like, you know what, Kathy, you claim that you're such a grown-ass woman, then you know what, act like one, okay?
Yeah.
Because, you're all like, brother and sister, you guys should make up. Then you know what, back up. Let them do their thing. Everybody is so concerned about Joe and Teresa mending their relationship, but it's like, geez, like you leave your name out and it's like all hell breaks loose. You know what I mean? So I think that Kathy was definitely egged on by Caroline.
I hate how everyone just tries to solve other people's problems for them, and it just creates even more
chaos,
drama, and it's just so immature. Kathy, you and Teresa are finally, putting your best feet forward, and you're saying that it feels like old times. Why are you trying to pick at her and Caroline's relationship? It's one thing if she says, I really wish that you and Caroline could get along, just to express that. But she just kept on going and going and going and beating the dead horse. And Caroline's issue is something that definitely could never be, solved overnight in a group setting with alcohol flowing. There's just no way.
Wine flowing. Here's my theory. My theory, it's kind of like the high school thing. How, oh, sorry. It's kind of like the whole idea in high school. So Kathy's trying to be like, pick the group of people that she wants to be cool with, the clique that's fun. And I think, unfortunately, the idea of family, blood being thicker than water and family coming first, I think for her, I think at the end of the day, if she had to choose sides, I think she would choose to be with the Caroline Manzo side versus her family.
Absolutely.
So I think it was a situation where she was like, let me play my sides. Right now, Teresa's not the popular person. And I think that was a catalyst for her doing what she did.
The way that Kathy speaks and the way that she approaches situations, she's such a martyr. You know what I mean? She plays the victim, and I hate that victim role. It's like, I understand that you want your 5 minutes of fame, but bitch, don't bring it acting like a freaking victim. And she just played that so dirty, and I was waiting for it. I'm sorry, but I knew. I was waiting for it because there's something shady about her. Yes, she's sweet. Yes, she can make a cannoli, but that doesn't mean anything. She has something up her sleeve, and I called it. I said, you know what, this girl, there's something, we gotta look out for her.
Gotta watch her. Well, we all know that, her husband Richie has never been a fan of Teresa. And I think that's that influences her a lot.
Of course it does.
A lot.
Of course.
Completely.
Yeah. Let's talk about the men. So while, Kathy and Teresa are having this conversation that everybody can overhear, in the hot tub, the men are kind of separated. And my question was, well, can the men hear the conversation too? But I'm assuming that they really couldn't.
Okay.
But they were feeding off of the women.
The men couldn't hear the conversation.
Right.
The boys could hear the conversation.
They could, for sure.
And you could tell that the men couldn't hear the conversation, but they were still not having their own conversations so that they could at least try to stay involved as to what was going on.
Right.
Whether it was because they wanted to also be involved, because let's face it, sometimes those men, especially Joe Gorga and Joe Giudice, they do act like little girls sometimes and like want to know the gossip and want to stir the pot. Or was it because they didn't want someone to throw a punch and like have,
I think they were definitely standing by, all ready to defend their women.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Every single one of them. Because even at one point, Albert says, you know what? I'm kind of over here in the corner and people think that I'm not paying attention and I'm a little stealth. But you know what? When something pops off, I'm going to be there for my wife. And I think every single one of them, that's how they were like, defending.
And that's how it should be.
Right.
And that's how it should be. I mean, I don't, there's nothing negative about the men keeping their eye on their women. I mean, that's how it should be.
Right.
But the way that Kathy brought this whole situation was really dirty, and I'm really disappointed in her.
I am too. And just to your point, Giselle, it's like, where's the Kathy with the apron and making the,
cannolis,
cheesecakes and cannolis? Like, where is that sweet little woman? Like, is this a different side of her?
I think this is the side of the Housewives that we see after they've, have been on the season, or have
Been
on the show for a
initiated
couple
on the
times.
show for a while.
No, but it's true because after the while, it's as if they want more camera time or they want to be a part of the drama and they
Or a
start to
spin-off.
feed off of it. Who knows? And we
Yeah.
see that the longer the Housewives have been on the show, the crazier they get.
Yeah.
And we see that with all the seasons. Like look at Ramona, for example. Look
Ooh.
at Vicky on Orange County.
True.
Like they
True.
they
That's a
don't
good
know real from not real.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we see with Caroline. We're going to talk about that later.
Yes,
but,
we are.
But the fights that happen or the talks that happen on camera with her are not the same as what happens when the cameras are off.
Right.
And I think it's easy to get lost. And once again, alcohol's flowing, husbands are there, kids are there. It's just
So do we think that Kathy that we saw like scheming and setting up Teresa for this whole situation, do we think this is really who she is?
Yes, because that is why Teresa was she was making such a big deal that she did not want her family on the show. I think that Kathy.
That's a good point.
I think Kathy genuinely is a nice person, but she's a suburban housewife. She has nothing better to do. She needs this drama.
Than to do this.
Needs her drama. You know what I mean?
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
I think both of them though have characteristics that are like that.
Of
It's
course.
not just one or the other.
Yeah, but Teresa's the queen bee. There's only one queen bee. There's not room for 3 or 4 more. She's the queen bee,
Yeah.
and that's it. And there's a reason why she didn't want her sister-in-law or her cousin on the show.
I see it now. Like it's truly like it's coming to fruition. We completely see it played out on TV, so I get it now. So all right,
Kathy and Melissa are I think they're a little smarter about the way that they handle it.
Melissa's gotten really, really good.
Okay,
I'm
but-
really liking her behavior.
But being
throughout all this.
conniving and being manipulative, yes, that's playing it smarter, but that also makes you more evil.
Well, no, but what I'm saying is that the picture that they show of who they are and their family and what they say in the confessional would make you believe that they are oblivious to the situation.
Right, but
they're a
this
little
is
bit more
also-
aware of what they say, whereas Teresa, she's going back and forth every single time and like
Right.
saying stupid things. So
But
you
this
won't
was-
ever take her seriously or give
But
her the
this
benefit
was
of the
this
doubt.
season this is the only season that she's been so bipolar.
Teresa?
Yeah. All the other seasons, it was just, you know what, it is what it is.
Right.
But I think there's just so much going on with her sister-in-law, with her cousin, with Caroline.
Husband.
That there's just so
Well,
much.
And I think it's all the catalyst for all of that.
Yeah.
It's her celebrity's gotten bigger. She's been on The Celebrity Apprentice.
Right.
She's released all these books.
Right.
She's doing a Fab Bellini cocktail. She's becoming, Bethany Frankel's,
But is
clone.
it worth throwing away your integrity?
No, it's not.
Exactly.
But I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I think maybe she doesn't know how to handle it. I think
I
that could
agree.
be a big part of it.
I
But
agree.
all right, let's talk about this whole Caroline and Teresa, this whole back and forth. So basically, as Teresa's being baited by Kathy in the hot tub, Caroline, she's listening to it all.
She
you know?
has her gloves on. She's ready.
She is ready to
ready.
go. Earrings off, Vaseline on. She is ready to go.
Vaseline.
Yeah, it's a black girl thing. Take the earrings off, put Vaseline on. I'm ready to
It is
fight.
not just a black girl thing, okay? Shit.
Oh, hey, real quick, we want to remind all you guys to make sure you go on to iTunes and rate us and comment. Tweet Giselle. She's going to tweet live.
At Giselle Ugarte.
Yes, at Giselle Ugarte. And because we really want to hear your comments. This is a really juicy episode. What is
was
that?
that?
Whose laugh was that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But we just want to remind you guys to rate us. 5, 5, 5, 5, just like the foot long at Subway. 5. Okay. That was weird. All right. Moving on. So, yeah, let's talk about this. Caroline was ready to
She
go.
would just not ease up on her. She was just like,
Do you think she was justified?
No.
no.
Okay. Why?
To be honest, I was embarrassed for her. I was
Really?
embarrassed for her. It was like,
Too much?
this season definitely also brought a different side of Caroline.
Yeah.
She was very classy, composed, put
She
together.
admits it too.
She did.
She
on
did.
Watch What Happens Live.
Right,
She did
but
admit
she
it.
was the same bitch that she was on Watch What Happens Live as what she was on episode 17. She was the
Yeah.
same person.
Yeah.
And
Agreed.
even Andy's like, "What are you smiling about? Like you're
Agreed.
like saying it with this smile that doesn't make it prettier." And that smile
She
freaked
said
me
she had a
out.
nervous laugh. I have a
Right.
nervous laugh too.
She did.
No, but she
did
wasn't
say that.
laughing. She wasn't laughing. She
It was a weird smile.
It was
Yeah.
a weird, very diabolical looking smile that she had. Her little laughter, and it was just. You're right. You know what? Sometimes you're so involved in the show that it might get the best of you. I don't know.
I don't think she's involved in the show. I think that what she's upset about goes way
deeper
than what
I
she's
agree.
saying, and she clearly shows that she has Caroline on camera, Caroline off camera, and her expectations of each. And I think what she's saying on camera is not what she's actually upset about. What she's upset about, I think, has to do with Dina.
It's her family.
And her own family issues. Because she keeps on bringing up issues that should have been resolved a long
brings
time
up
ago.
issues?
Well,
Caroline, she keeps the book. I thought for example, the cookbook. Well, what's been said and done, okay, fine, whatever. The tabloids,
Right.
all right, who knows if Teresa's telling the truth or not. Sometimes she mixes up her words.
Right.
So who knows whether they're actually paying for a cover versus paying for an article. They're very different things.
But
and she
who
keeps
cares,
going back and
though?
Well,
forth.
but
Who
hold
cares?
on,
That's
but
what I'm
but
saying.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because the tabloids, that was a really big part of this episode. Even the men were really digging into it. So Joe Giudice, he basically alluded that they have a deal with In Touch Weekly, and even Carolyn brought it up. Okay, Teresa's got a 7-cover deal.
Did he?
You know?
I don't think he said that they had a deal. He said that
They
you
were.
can't trust any of them except for In Touch. And they were like,
Okay, but
wait,
why is
isn't
he
In
plugging
Touch-
that?
Well,
Why?
probably because they've worked with In Touch before, but
And
that
they're
doesn't mean
getting
that every
paid.
single time.
But not every time. There was an article that In Touch put out that Teresa's having a baby boy. What is
Right.
that then? Are they going to get paid for the bullshit that this magazine writes?
But you
No.
know what? How do we know? I mean, I think that he kind of let the cat out of the bag a little bit when that conversation came up. Because how do we know that, like, okay, so she's got a 7-cover deal with In Touch magazine and she's getting paid. So maybe she's
Okay.
feeding them stories.
Okay,
So,
but
you
right
know?
now, for example, you have People magazine with you. Who's
Yes.
on the cover? Is he getting paid
the
for that?
Middletons, well, they're the royalty, so no.
Let's just say they
still.
want the royalty.
Right.
I'm sure they didn't approve this photo to be on that magazine. That's why they're called tabloids. There are
Right.
certain stories that you do sell to the magazines.
Right.
And then there are certain stories that are going to get published with or without your blessing.
I get it. I do think though that Teresa, she's in bed with these magazines for sure. She's in bed with some of them. Maybe not all of them, but she is.
And she's admitted that she has with
Right.
certain ones. But the ones that she's getting accused of, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But like I said, there's a time and place to ask her. She's getting bombarded yet again.
She excuse me. She is. I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like, you know, if there is a specific magazine that you are so bothered about, then let's talk about that one specific magazine. You are throwing things left and right, left
Exactly.
and right. It's like,
Right.
who can keep up? Even as a
Right.
viewer, I'm like, okay, what is the core to your anger right
Well,
now?
the core to Caroline's anger is that, and we even saw it on Watch What Happens Live, her claim is that she never, ever received a sincere apology from from Teresa. What the hell is my problem?
Stop drinking the Jesus juice.
Sorry, stop drinking from the black cup. But she's to this day. Thanks, Amir. She's never received. Okay. To this day, she's never received a sincere apology with the cameras off from Teresa. That was her claim, and even she claimed that on Watch What Happens Live.
so she needs to say that.
But that's what she said.
No, but she needs to say that to Teresa. She needs to
Okay.
say, you know what? I will, because Teresa's saying, what can I do?
Point
what can I
taken.
do? What more can I do? She needs to say, I need to have you do this, just
Right.
the two of us, without the cameras
Right.
around, so that we can discuss our differences.
Is that
She can't
something
just
that she needs to say, though?
Yeah, because Teresa. Let's be real. Teresa
She
does
needs to
not
have things
know.
spelled out for her.
True.
And here's the other stupid thing: is that
Hurricanes are coming.
they did bring up a couple of examples of tabloids. For example, Kathy brought up about Teresa saying something about how her and Richie are always getting after her about going to the mall all the
Shopping
time or
and stuff like that,
shopping.
yeah.
And Kathy's like, well, Richie might say that, but I don't say that. Well, first of all, it's a stupid thing to get upset about. Teresa, instead of her owning up to it and saying, okay, sorry, easy mistake, I said there instead of you guys and it was a joke or whatever, she's like, I didn't say that. And it's like, Teresa, it's in quotations.
But not only
it's
that,
in quotations.
But not only that, but
You
these
said
were
it.
quotes that were taken out of the show that they
Right.
had said on the show.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
they're quoting stuff that was said on the show. And can we go back to Teresa's apology to Caroline? You know,
Yes.
the one in Napa at the house, I need to stop drinking this too. That did
It seems
seem
sincere.
sincere.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
And Caroline's.
But the cameras were rolling.
I understand that. But Teresa also claimed that she called. And every time that Teresa does try to strike up conversation with Caroline, she doesn't want to have anything to do with it, which screws up Caroline because it shows that Caroline's not answering her phone calls.
Well, you know what? I brought this up when we were actually viewing it. It's almost a situation of who do you believe? Because Teresa's saying, well, I reached out to Caroline. I tried to talk to her. And Caroline's like, well, I haven't heard from her. She hasn't. So it's like, who do you believe?
You know what?
It's
right
he
now,
said, she said.
I believe Teresa because there's a time and place for everything, and Caroline chooses the last day in Napa where everybody is there, and she's like making a spectacle of this situation. She's like, you know what? I'm ready, and she's like, poor me, I have no one backing me up. What the hell are you talking about? You have your 3 sons. I'm going to include Greg.
They were
as her
back
son.
yeah.
She
They
has
were there.
Lauren.
Her
She has her
husbands.
husband. So why is she saying boo-hoo? No one's on my side. No one's here to back me up. Because first of all, you can take care of your damn self.
Well, let me
Yeah.
let me ask you something. So, given the situation, the fact that Kathy was the one who started all this and she did all this in earshot, what do you think Caroline's behavior should have been, considering she was privy to this conversation? She didn't ask to be, but she heard it. So, what do you think her reaction should have been?
Knowledge is power, and she should have been like, you guys take this somewhere else. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to be involved. Because what did she say time and time again? I'm done. If
Yeah,
you're done,
this is true.
You would not have behaved
agree.
like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
I
She just
agree.
sat there. Go move to another room. Go hang out with your family.
Right.
Go, or you could even just go up to Teresa and Kathy, which obviously she wouldn't because she was so upset,
She was heated.
and so heated, and say, you know what, you guys, let's not worry about this right now. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about it when we get back. Let's enjoy ourselves. And I think everyone would have been happy to go back and drink and
listen, Caroline was
time together.
waiting to pounce on her like flies on shit. Even Teresa was like, see,
white on
Kathy?
rice.
She's like, Kathy, see what you started? And Caroline's like, no, you don't need to answer that. Like, she is so ready. She has so much anger towards her.
I almost feel like Kathy she knew, obviously she knew what she was doing. She
yeah.
knew it was going to stir Caroline up, and she, you know what I mean? But let's talk about, I want to shift gears for a second, kind of. Let's talk about Jacqueline. Jacqueline was quote unquote
Sleeping.
asleep during all of this. Do we really think she was sleeping?
No.
Because even Teresa said, well, Jacqueline's pretending to be asleep because, I don't know, maybe she doesn't want to get involved. Maybe she really does want to be my friend and she just doesn't want to get in the mix of it. What do you think? Do you think she was really pretending?
No. I mean, yeah, she was
yeah, she's
pretending.
pretending. Yeah, she was
Yeah.
not asleep. There's
No,
no
she
way.
was not asleep.
Yeah.
She heard the entire
And you know what?
conversation.
She played it right.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't think she should have
No.
gotten up, left the situation, she just like kept herself out of
No.
it?
Because I think she knows that there's more to the conversation than is being mentioned.
No. And then what we're going to bring up in news and gossip, she's dealing with her own family drama.
Agreed, which we didn't know about.
That
yeah.
this is like, mm-mm.
This means nothing.
This
What's
means
don't on?
nothing to
compared
her.
to what's going on in her life.
Nothing.
I agree.
And I think people should follow after Jacqueline. Like, you don't need to be,
Go to sleep.
not always.
Right.
But in this particular situation where, all right, she's not totally sure if she can trust Teresa. She's not totally sure if their friendship will ever go back to the way that it was. But at least enjoy the vacation, enjoy the presence, be civil with the person. You don't have to be fake, but at least be able to share air.
Yeah.
Right.
I agree.
Okay.
Caroline was starting to bring up some like dirt between Teresa and Melissa and Kathy, and she's trying to bring up her family drama. And Teresa was like, you know what? You have drama of your own, but I'm not even going to go there. My question is, when this was taped, which how many months ago, Caroline and Dina were beefing.
Right.
Who is
About a year
Caroline
ago.
to come and criticize and bring up these, the drama between Teresa and Melissa and Kathy when she's having drama with her own sister?
Exactly.
Maybe it's payback. I don't know.
No, maybe it is payback, but
Maybe
you know
it's
what?
payback.
That showed me a lot of class with Teresa, because Teresa, you know what? The next episode, you see her and Dina holding hands.
Right.
And Teresa could have easily gone there, and she could have easily
Yeah.
gone there. She could have easily
Well,
brought
she
it
might.
up.
Well,
And she might.
You know
but
what?
you know what? She didn't. In this episode, for this episode's
Yeah.
sake, she didn't.
Yeah.
She made a comment about Caroline's marriage. Remember, she kept saying, you know what, Caroline shouldn't throw stones because I know stuff about her marriage. I know she said that a lot. So obviously, at some point, there was something brewing between Caroline and Albert, but we don't know.
We don't know.
So I was with her on that because she could have revealed, but she didn't.
What did you guys think about Caroline bringing up things that Teresa said about Kathy and things that she said about Melissa, which I think we all are aware that had been happening, that there was tension beforehand, but now they're working it out. I thought we moved past that. Why is she bringing it up now?
I think it's payback because her and her sister Dina haven't, truly, reconfirmed their relationship with each other, and she blames Teresa for that. I do.
So she's just grabbing everything she can?
I think she is. I really do. I think that, like, her relationship with her sister, I mean, we know how important family is to her, thicker than thieves, you know what I'm saying? And I think she blames Teresa for her, the lack of the relationship that she has with her sister. I do.
Well, that's pretty dumb because, I mean, Caroline's a person who would never, this is the old Caroline. The old Caroline would never blame her mistakes on anybody else. And she also mentioned, I never wanted my kids to see me look ugly or be this person. Well, you know what, sweetie? You just proven time and time again that you can be just as nasty as the bitches that you're talking about yourself.
Yeah.
You
if
know?
not more.
If not more.
I mean, I'm not defending her behavior at all, but I think could be where it's coming from.
It may be, but it's like, does that give her a right to bring up Teresa's family drama?
No, it doesn't.
What do you guys think about when Lauren and Chris got involved?
I think I was. It didn't surprise me because we all know how much they love their mother and how much they respect their mother. So I think at the end of the day, they will always have their mom's back, like regardless of the situation. So I expected, I expected it.
Right, but it's
What did you
like
think
it's
about
like Gia in 5 years talking back to an older woman saying, "Well, you know what? I get it, I understand, but you know what? The children they need to stay out of it."
I agree.
It
wasn't their place.
It was not their place.
It wasn't their
And Laura
place.
needs to shut the fuck up. I'm sorry, she does. She should not have. This is grown people's business.
Grown folks' business,
This is
y'all.
grown people's business. Like
Yeah.
this is like Gia in a blink of an eye, she's gonna be a young adult herself. It's like she shouldn't be fighting Teresa's battles, and
Right.
Lauren should not be fighting Caroline's battles.
I agree,
period.
but do you think there's a difference because all of her kids are grown?
no,
Does it make a difference?
No.
Okay.
It's still
I'd ask.
the same thing, It's between Teresa and Caroline.
I agree.
It'd be one thing if maybe Albie said something or Chris said something because he's the one who wanted the strip club and the car wash, and that's what's mentioned in the cookbook.
Right.
But he doesn't seem to have a problem with it or really care. So it's clearly not.
I mean, I thought it was more than appropriate for Albert to make the comments that he made. That's her husband. He should be making those comments.
Yeah.
But I agree with you guys. I think as kids, they should, their voices didn't need to be heard.
If I got
I agree.
into a confrontation with you and your little daughter says something, I'll be like, Diona, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but I'm gonna smack the shit out
At
of
a
your
little
daughter.
Jacquelisha, yes.
Do you know what I mean? That's just not right. This is
Yeah.
like grown folk business.
folks-
Like
no,
we
I
just
agree.
need to like handle it.
I agree.
And it's just Lauren. It just makes her understand.
It made her
there's a
look really
different-
stupid.
It did. It
But
really
at the same
did.
time, Caroline, she didn't put the kibosh on it at all. She was, kind of using it as, I don't want to say ammunition, but yeah, she was.
Yes, she was.
She totally was. Wait, let's switch gears for 2 seconds. So
Switching.
two things I want to talk about. One, the men. So the men were back at the table, and Chris Laurita brings up the fact they're all heated. They're all wondering what's going on. But Chris Laurita brings up, hey, to Joe Giudice, I can never say the name right. Hey, I didn't appreciate you basically telling somebody that I do business with that I'm
bottle.
shady.
Yeah.
And what I thought was really interesting is that Chris brought it out. He threw it out there. I'm not sure if it was the appropriate time.
It was not.
Because you mentioned that, and I get that. At the same time, what I thought was really interesting, that's the difference between men and women and how we handle things. He brought it up.
Not all men and not all women.
Not all men, but he brought it up. He laid it on the table. He's like, look, I don't appreciate that, Joe. You know, I'm not a shady person. I would have your back. A magazine actually offered Jacqueline $50,000 to talk about Teresa. She turned it down. I always have your back. So I don't appreciate you telling some bottle guy, you know, putting it out in the streets that I'm a shady person. Joe apologized.
Done and done.
Yeah.
They kissed on both cheeks and it was done.
Why would you bring it up then, though? Because remember, before they even went on the trip, the guys got together because they wanted to make sure that the girls would fight and that they got everything handled.
Right.
Why not bring it up there? Why not bring it up the day that the guy says that you're shady? I just don't understand. This is the last day of the trip. This is when the girls are fighting. This is after dinner drinks, after more drinks, after dinner drinks. Why?
I think that he brought it up because it's like, well, shit, everything else has been brought up on the table. Why don't I bring this up? I had an issue with it. I know, but like I can understand. I agree with you. Like it probably wasn't the best time, place. There could have been so many other opportunities he could have used to bring it up. At the same time, it's like everything else is being laid out on the table. Why don't I lay this out?
Right.
I will say though, even though I think it's totally inappropriate timing, that I'm guilty of being that person. My goodness, you guys are just guzzling that down. Anyways,
this was a stressful
but I will say,
okay?
Whenever
wow,
Diona just
now I've seen it
brought the
all.
bottle out from underneath the desks and poured herself
A bottle
in a
of
glass.
Evian, fans. A bottle of Evian. Thank
what
you.
I'm trying to say is that
Avion.
I'm totally guilty of sometimes being that person. Love it. You okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. When you go out drinking with some friends and maybe there's something in the back of your mind, and in the back of my mind I'm going, do not talk about this. Do not talk about this. Do not talk about this. 3 drinks later, okay, I have
I'm
to talk
talking
to you
about
this.
It's truth serum, you know?
Yeah.
It loosens you up. It's truth serum. So I get why he brought it up because it's like, well, damn, everything else is being talked about. We're talking about tabloids. Teresa and Kathy are having it out. You know, Caroline, like, why not? Everybody else is throwing their shit out on the table. Why not? So I get it.
There's another point that I need to bring up. Yes, Caroline speaks a hell of a lot more intelligently than Teresa, but that does not make her a better person.
No.
Every little thing that Teresa said
Just because she's
was,
fifth day.
Okay.
That's another thing I want to bring up. I wanted this next.
And I wish Adrienne was here because she's Italian and she could speak for this. For my culture, age makes the difference. Like
Right.
if you were, I'm born in August. If you're born in July, that makes you a month older than me. That means I have to give you a little bit more respect. No, it really is.
Yeah, no, I know.
It really,
I know.
you can be a complete stranger and you're older than me. I have to call you in a
respect.
different name. I
Yeah.
have to treat you differently. I have to. It's a whole age.
Yeah.
It's a whole lot
It's a
of drama.
respect thing
It's a respect
for your
thing.
elders, yeah.
So I don't think Teresa's meaning like you're 50, like you old hag. I think she's meaning like you're 50, you're older, you're wiser. And, you know, like there is a certain respect that needs to be given to somebody that's older. And then there's Caroline going again, saying like, oh, yeah, I'm old. It's like, calm down.
I just don't think Teresa even needed to go there. I kind of thought, I saw it as a
Well,
little dig.
well,
Oh, you're
no. I
50,
didn't.
you just
No,
turned 50.
Because
and, you know,
I
the
didn't
reason
see
why I
that
brought
way.
up the age, well, she brought up the age and me bringing up Caroline speaks it more intelligently. Because she brought it up because Caroline is belittling her. She's looking down to her. She's very, you know what I mean? She's like making her feel really low. And that's why Teresa had to bring up the age thing. We're like, okay, yes, you're 50. You have a lot more life experience, or you know, you have
you
more
got
wisdom.
10 more years on me or whatever
Exactly.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see it as her calling her like an old hag at all. I
No.
agree. I saw it that way, that Caroline almost felt entitled to more respect
Because
or
she's older.
to more right.
Listen, at this
you have to earn it.
point, if Teresa was like, Caroline, you're beautiful, let me lick your vagina, she would be so like, what?
No, you
There's
You think that I'm beautiful? Like, I think that there's nothing Teresa could have said
Oh, my God.
to make the
Hashtag
situation
vagina.
better.
Sorry.
like with with the 4 of us, we come from all different backgrounds. We're in all different ages, work
you trying
experience,
to
etc.
say? I'm
That we
playing.
all treat each other with respect and we
Right.
all let each other speak and give each other a voice, and that's just what friendship is. It's ageless.
No,
you know?
agreed.
And it's okay. And yeah.
Here's my next question. So
Snaps.
snap,
I'll drink to that.
sorority girl snaps. So here's my next question. So Caroline made a comment. Let me back up for 2 seconds. So Teresa says, you know what, you guys, I've had a rough year. You know, finances and all these rumors with my husband. Like, I just need a break. And then Caroline says, oh, she's playing the victim. You're the victim. Blah blah. What do you think about that comment?
Well, she finally wants to hear the truth, and she's telling you the truth, and it's like, damn, shut a bitch down. Why don't you? Why don't you just shut me down?
Right.
So it's like I said, there's no way for Teresa to win the situation. There was nothing she could have done
Or
said to get a
agree.
different outcome from Caroline.
I
This
agree.
was a very ugly episode from Caroline.
It was. Because I was kind of with Teresa when she said that. I'm like, you know what? She has had a rough year, just rumors about her husband and their finances.
But
and
this is
court
my
and
thing. Just
all
because
that
I don't
shit.
tell you or she doesn't, that doesn't make somebody a liar.
Yeah.
That
Agreed.
does not make somebody a liar.
It makes you proud
Here's-
sometimes.
It makes you, but you know what? Sometimes you need to protect your family.
Yeah.
Even if
First.
that's what I'm saying though, is that it doesn't make her a liar, but here's the thing. It can make her a liar, but it's because she's protecting her family or because it's nobody else's business.
Right.
Yeah.
That's part of, I don't know, I think that's kind of the old school way, regardless of what your culture is that the whole world doesn't need to know your business.
Yeah, no, they don't.
If your parents are not, if they're having marital problems, or if maybe your brother's the black sheep of the family and is having issues himself, or you don't need to tell tabloids or your friends every single little detail, even if they ask you directly. You can just say, "Oh yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it."
And we have to keep in mind, this is reality too.
Sorry. Jax is under this. Diona brought her dog to the studio.
Sorry.
And
We
he
have
just sniffed
to.
my leg and I thought it was a bug, but it's just, he's just a cute little guy. I love him.
We have to keep in mind that this is a reality show. This is not a show where they're playing someone. This is not a sitcom. They're not playing somebody else. This is their life. And like you mentioned earlier, Teresa's fame has shot through the roof. And now I think that was everybody's goal when they signed up for this show. Like, they do want some sort of fame. But I don't think Teresa expected her popularity to go skyrocketing.
Right.
And she needs to protect her family as much as she can. If that makes her a liar, then let it be. But I think that she's trying to be as genuine. I mean, and we've come down pretty hard on Teresa, but I think like it's kind of coming back full circle now, and I'm sympathizing with her. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if I need to kind of damage my relationship with you. I'm gonna protect my family.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree with you. And side note, I'm live tweeting, and at Maya Yapple wants to know what nail polish you're wearing.
Ah.
Oh, crap.
Oh, it's Essie. It's
Yeah,
the
it's
blue
the
color that we got
bikini-
from Maria's party.
It's bikini weenie.
Bikini weenie.
But it's Essie.
It's Essie.
Okay.
It's bikini. I'll tweet it to you
Okay.
later. And then-
Thanks for tweeting, Maya Yapple.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Anybody want to tweet about this cute little face?
Jacqueline.
Wow. Something else I wanted to bring up is that Teresa, I don't know if that's okay. Teresa made it a point of saying, you know what, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not running anywhere. I'm sitting right here. Because in the
Yes.
past, like the solstice party, we saw her like walk away. And Melissa was like, run away, coward. So for the first time, we literally see her really standing her ground,
Owning it.
owning who she is and and her feelings, and she's not going anywhere.
Well, Andy Cohen said it perfectly on Watch What Happens Live. He's like, Caroline, do you think you're a bully? She is a bully. She was
Yeah.
a bully.
She
in
was.
this episode, she was a bully.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are grown women we're talking about. They're 50, 40 something year old women that we're talking about. And this is how they're arguing.
Because Caroline sees herself as the queen bee.
Well, but
I
know
think
what?
she does too, in a different way, because it used to be.
I agree.
That she had Dina, and they
I
were the
agree.
Manzos, and they were the dominant family on this show. And,
I agree.
And they
I
were
agree with
part
you.
of what made the New Jersey Housewives so great, is because they were all interconnected, and they all have a history and a friendship. And Caroline used to have the upper hand in being able to keep order and keep control, and she was the big sister. And now that's I don't know if it's
Well,
necessarily starting to slip.
well, you know what?
And like, going back to what we said about the Dina relationship, how that's
Right.
kind of out of her control. But she used to be the one who would even handle everyone else's social issues. When they're
Right.
having problems with
You're
Danielle
s-
Staub, she was the one that met with Danielle to figure things out, even though the issue wasn't even with her, it was with Ashley and Jacqueline.
But she's still
yeah.
doing that though. She's still up in everyone's business.
Well, but that's the thing. I agree with you 100%.
But this time it's within the circle.
I agree
Right.
with you 100%. I think the first couple seasons of this show, even probably up until season 3, she was that, she was the matriarch. She was the go-to person. She was the one who solved everybody's problems. Everybody respected her. And I think she's still, like, now, like, I feel like the tables are a little bit more even, so to say.
So is she threatened?
I think she is threatened a little bit.
Okay.
And I think that's why she's taking this stance, that she's got, especially with stuff going on with her sister and her relationship not being right with her sister. And in her eyes, it's because of Teresa's actions.
I also think that she's watched herself over the last couple of seasons, and she's wanted to maybe reevaluate how she conducts herself on camera. But then it ends up backfiring because she's not necessarily, at least to us, being her true self, or at least behaving the way that we used to respect her so much for.
Well, respect is
Agreed.
definitely something that needs to be earned. And if she lost that, then she needs to earn it again.
So another question for you guys. Towards the end, we see where Caroline is having a conversation with Melissa and Kathy about their relationship and how now that obviously things are completely sour between Caroline and Teresa, how does that affect her relationship with the two of them? Like, do you think that going forward, Melissa and Kathy should maintain a relationship with Caroline or no?
I
see why
mean,
not.
I don't see what. Yeah, they're grown ass women.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
It's just silly.
And essentially, that's what Melissa had to say. And I, like I said, I've really been impressed with Melissa the past couple
So have
episodes.
I
I think
agree.
she stepped it up. I think she really she's showing some character and some backbone. And what I really enjoyed seeing is that when Teresa and Joe were like, okay, we're leaving early, they had their back.
Joe was like, "We're leaving early too." She's like, "All right."
that's my sister,
Yeah.
and I have her back at the end of the day. So that was really
That was a
nice to
tearjerker.
see. And I think after all of the turmoil between them, I think that was really, really nice to see that, like, her brother truly has her back.
Now, Teresa mentioned that if the roles were reversed, she will leave in an instant. Now, do we think that she would leave if roles were reversed and that's their new friends and brother Joe and sister-in-law Melissa
That's
were
a good
like, we're
question.
gonna bounce? Do you think that they will leave?
I couldn't see them finding a reason to leave unless Teresa was either the culprit or she was somehow involved as well.
Right.
So I think it would be inevitable that she would go along too.
I loved how they had that, family, like blood is thicker than water. And another thing, I'll kind of rewind for 2 seconds. When all the men were at the table and Chris and Joe Giudice, I can never pronounce it right, had their little issue, Joe Gorga was like, you know what? This ain't my issue. I'm not saying anything. I'm staying out of it. So he played a Jacqueline. He went to sleep. And I actually like that he did that.
So do I.
I really did. And he even made the comment, like, I can see why maybe people are having issues with Teresa and Joe if, like, all this shit's happening.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first time he was, well, not the first time, I don't want to say that, but he was really able to step back and be a little bit objective about his sister.
What I didn't like, and I think we kind of skipped over this, was not only how Kathy followed Teresa into the room and kept on trying to stir the
let's
pot,
hit on that,
but what
yeah.
did you guys think about Teresa grabbing Kathy's chin?
I had to rewind that a couple times
Yeah.
because I was just like, huh?
I
What?
think that she was semi being a little aggressive because she was so heated, but I
Yeah.
don't think it was done in a violent way. I
I
think
don't-
she
I
was
agree.
just like look at me. Like, I think because now we know how passionate Teresa is, and this is her cousin. She's like, look at me. What I don't like is that all of a sudden in the room, it's like, that's exactly what Kathy should have said outside is what she said inside. She could have been like, okay, if you wanted my attention, but instead she's like, whoa, 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 don't put your
Yeah.
hands on me. Like, it was she was so violated. You know what I mean?
I think she took it too far.
I agree. I don't think it was necessarily aggressive. I can see how she would have been surprised and how,
Right.
especially if you've been drinking, how that would be
Yeah, if
particularly
somebody
like
gets
startling.
in your face, right.
I didn't like how Teresa kept on doing it afterwards, though.
Yeah.
That
But I
bothered
think
me.
Teresa was just trying to prove a point
Yeah.
where it's like, I'm not trying to hurt you. I didn't like grab your face.
Yeah.
I was just
Right.
like, look at me because you were looking down. And at the end of the day, bitch, you're the one who started it. Pay attention. What are you looking
Pay
at?
attention.
It's
Yes.
like you're looking at your cuticles, mofo. Like, pay attention. Like, what are you doing?
You're looking at your
Twiddling
SC.
her
Because
fingers.
at the end of the day, she's the
Maybe
one
she
who
had
started
notes.
this.
Maybe she had notes on her
Maybe.
hand of like, what am I
You
going to say
know?
next to stir the pot?
What am I going to
Okay, now what do you guys, and
Check
what are
off
your
list.
thoughts on Caroline finally going into her room and breaking down? What's that about?
Clearly, there's more to it.
There's a lot
She's
more
not
to it.
done. She's emotional about something, whether it's Teresa or Dina. There's so much more to it.
And I'm going to add to that. Not only that, there's a lot more to it, but it's kind of piggybacks on what she had to say on Watch What Happens Live. That on this season, she's not herself. She's not herself. She didn't like herself. You know, she didn't like seeing this episode. She didn't like who she was. So I think a lot of that had to do with that as well.
Right, but throughout her interview, she
She's
was
still that
Caroline in season 4. And is that an excuse to say just because I don't like who I was in season 4, yet I'm the same person here talking to you? It's like, that's not an excuse.
I want to
Right.
know, with all of those tears, because you know how like usually you have this super heated argument and then
Yeah.
you stop talking and then you all of a sudden think about all these things that you wish you would have said.
Yeah.
Right.
Or like, oh, I wish I would have, made sure I said this and da da da. I want to know what it was that she was clearly bottling up. Because
Well,
to
for
let it all
someone-
out like that, clearly she
Right.
didn't put it all out on the table.
Right,
She
but
didn't
for-
let anyone else see her tears.
But for someone who's, claiming up and down that she's done and she doesn't care, she really does
Still-
care.
Yeah, she does. She really
And
does. And I
I-
think it does hurt her. For sure.
And that makes her human. And I really wish that we saw that part where she's just like, let's just, whether we can mend this or not, let's just talk it out. Let's just
Right.
hash it out, you and I. And you know what? If the cameras have to be there, then that's fine. But let's just do it, you and I. And let's just get it over with. If we can mend it, let's mend it. If we can't, then bye. You know?
Bye.
yeah.
Bye.
Well, this was a really big episode. I think we covered all the major points of it because now it's time to roll into a little news and gossip. And really, I only have like really one big thing for news and gossip that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
TV
What's a
news.
big thing?
Well, I think we've all heard at this point that Jacqueline Laurita, she's finally come out about her son, her youngest son, having autism. So I think maybe that explains a lot of her behavior and her sensitivity and her emotions that we've seen throughout this, this season. That she's had a lot more to deal with off camera than what we realized.
I just want
you
to
know.
take back every bad thing I said about her.
I do. I think just dealing with Ashley and all the headaches that have come with, her older daughter and sending her off and making her grow up. And now she's got to deal with, her youngest son having autism. She's definitely had a lot to deal with. And I think it explains a lot.
Yeah,
It
makes
explains
a
a lot.
lot more sense
Yeah.
for why maybe she needed some time to her family and just to figure
And why
things
she didn't
out
show up
and-
to the reunion
Right.
last season, So, our hearts go out to her. And, it's a lot to deal with. And we hope things are okay. But I think it explains a lot, It's kind of like an aha moment. It's like, oh, okay,
Right. And also in the article, it did say that her son's improving and there's a lot of, he's on the up and up. So definitely let's keep positive thoughts and prayers for her and her family.
Yeah, I agree. So that's really
We love you,
the
Jacqueline.
only
Yeah,
we
we
love
do.
you, Jacqueline,
We do.
and we hope we pray for you and your family and your son. So that's it. That's it for news and gossip. We can go on to predictions.
Predictions.
We predict that you're gonna take a poo poo later.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay, so this is what we've all I always do that. This is what we've all been waiting for. It's been rumored this whole entire season that Dina Manzo,
Dun, dun, dun.
and her last name isn't Manzo anymore, but that she's going to make an appearance on the show, and this is exactly what's coming next week. So
Well,
clearly, Caroline and Dina have not resolved whatever issue there is between
Clearly.
them.
Clearly.
So, what are we thinking we're going to get out of this next episode?
Well, damn. I mean, we see a clip where Teresa calls out Melissa, calling her stripper. Well, there goes that friendship,
family.
Yeah, that family. There goes
Yeah.
that bridge.
Right.
And I think, and then I think she has an altercation with Jacqueline. So I think this is the episode that's gonna be like,
It's gonna make sense as to where things
Dark.
went really
Yeah.
sour.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of clarity on
it's like,
what's
damn,
been going
Teresa.
I'm excited for Tina to come back, though.
Me too.
I am
love
too.
Tina.
I am too, because
I
she's
miss
had a lot
Tina.
going on. Like she got married. She's got this great new show on HGTV. So I'm excited to see it. And I just want to remind you guys that this coming weekend, it's Labor Day weekend, so there is no new episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. But we will be here on September the 10th. All right, Monday, September 10th, back to recap and talk about this new episode with Dina, and I'm sure it's going to be juicy, just like this one.
The finale is quickly approaching.
The finale is quickly approaching, the reunion, wah wah. But I just want to remind you, no new episode next week, but you can download this episode and many more for free on iTunes, and don't forget to rate us.
And download the podcast app, too.
Yes, download
please.
the podcast app. It's all 100% free. Watch it on YouTube, and I'm gonna go around the room and let's talk to everybody. Where can we find you?
Please follow me on Twitter and at Instagram at It's Susan Hahn.
And wait, real quick. What you gonna be doing next Thursday, Susan?
Well, is it next Thursday already?
It's next
Yeah, I'm
Thursday.
going to be working the VMAs. You guys
Doing
know
some
that
makeup.
I'm a makeup artist. That's my first love. So I'm really, really, really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I'll give you guys a bunch of
You're gonna
details
be
when I get
beating
back.
some faces, right?
Yes.
Beaten
That's what they
faces?
call it, beating
Yeah.
faces, doing makeup. Yes.
So you can lick fierce.
Yes. What do you got going on?
Interesting. Oh, I got it. Okay. You can find me at Giselle Ugarte. My website's giselleugarte.com, and Sprinting Stilettos are under construction. We're getting a much needed makeover.
All right.
But yeah, you can find me, Giselle Ugarte.
Nice. And I'm Diona Vaughan, and actually I have a new show. It's premiering on September 3rd on Monday. It's on the Stylish channel. It's a YouTube channel. It's called The Daily Flash. You have to check it out. You'll find out all kinds of fun fashion deals
the
and
URL?
sales. It's www.youtube.com/The Stylish, and then you just click on The Daily Flash and you'll find me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, we'll see you not next week, but
The
week
week
after,
after.
the week
Happy
after,
Labor
September
Day.
10th. Happy Labor Day. Have fun. Be safe. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye.
See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.